In this session, we'll be looking at mobile application development. This is the CAPE Digital Media Syllabus, and we know that there is great interest in the development of mobile applications. So what we'll be covering in this session would be an introduction to the mobile ecosystem, smartphones. We'll be looking at mobile platforms. We'll be looking at different types or categories of mobile apps. We'll be looking at the mobile app marketplace, and we'll also be exploring some concepts in mobile application development. Our task here is to ensure that you, both as teachers and as students, that you understand what constitutes mobile application development, that you get a broad understanding of what it takes to develop mobile applications and services that can meet local, regional, and international needs. We also want you to be aware of what constitutes or what goes into building the local ecosystem needed to support and sustain mobile application development. So let's go straight into it. The mobile ecosystem. When talking about mobile application development, it's important to understand where it fits inside of what is considered the mobile ecosystem. Applications run on mobile devices, or mobile apps run on mobile devices. Mobile devices run on mobile networks or telecommunication networks. These are managed by mobile carriers, and they have to serve a particular market or audience. So the mobile ecosystem can be considered to constitute of the market or the environment within which the mobile apps will be deployed, the carriers who have a responsibility on their networks to support and to manage the mobile phones, the consumers who will be using the applications, and the apps themselves and the different functions and roles that they play. That's the mobile ecosystem. It's an ecosystem that connects users and user needs to technology and infrastructure, to software and software services, and to a world of opportunity where products and services satisfy consumer needs. So a big part of the mobile app space, of course, has to do with the phones on which these mobile apps run. So let's start off taking a quick look at smartphones. And we often hear the term smartphones. What exactly are smartphones? And how they are used? And how are they different from dumb phones? Smartphones are mobile devices that offer what we consider to be advanced capabilities, often with a computer-like functionality. They perform a variety of communications and multimedia functionalities beyond the typical or dumb phone. And when I say dumb phone, it's not my term. It's a term commonly used to describe phones that can literally only make phone calls. And once upon a time, long, long ago, far, far away, that's what phones were used for, to make phone calls. Today, we have computing devices in our pockets that also feature a phone calling function. And that would be your smartphone. Today's smartphones can act as cameras, they can act as video recorders, they can act as wallets, storing electronic currency. They can act as televisions, actually capturing and broadcasting television signals. They can act as bar scanners, PCs, GPS devices, FM radios, a Rolodex with all of your contacts, an MP3 player or music player for you to carry your music around with you. They can act as a newspaper, collating all of this information that you're interested in and keeping it inside of your pocket. And of course, as I said, they can also do phone calls on the side. But smartphones are not really new. They've been around for quite some time. Around since the 1990s, in fact, with devices like the Palm Trio or the initial versions of the BlackBerry. Content for the mobile phones is also not new. Mobile operators for some time have been offering content and applications on branded stores for more than a decade. This is all part of the mobile device experience that has been with us since phones and computing evolved. But what really makes a smartphone a smartphone? Is it sufficient for it to have a color screen or maybe a physical keyboard or a touch screen? Well, what really goes into a smartphone and what makes it a significant advance in mobile computing is the fact that smartphones come with computer-like power. The processors in the modern phone are equivalent to the processors that once only existed inside of desktop computers. What also makes a smartphone is the ease of use. Unlike phones of yore, where using the features normally required some kind of degree in mobilology, with smartphones today, ordinary users can quickly access common and very powerful features through mobile operating systems that make it relatively easy to access significant computing power and functionality. The third point that makes a smartphone is connectivity. In the early days of mobile phones, when phones were only used for phone calls, getting an internet connection on a phone was not really considered a significant feature. But as internet connectivity moved from desktops to mobile devices, all of the power and potential and opportunity of the internet came onto the mobile platforms. So connectivity is a very significant part of what makes a smartphone a smartphone. If your phone can't get online, you can't do smart things with it. And fourthly, content. Unlike some of the early smartphones where you had the features and you had the makings of the software, without the content, the phones could not do the kinds of things that people now take for granted with their mobile experience. Things like checking email or browsing the internet or making bank payments. All of those functionalities, they're not features of the actual physical phone. They are features of what is possible when that phone is connected to the global internet, and when software is written that can run specifically on the mobile devices and mobile screens. So what are some of the benefits of having a smartphone? I'm going through this list because remember, we're talking about mobile application development. For us to understand why mobile application development is so important and so significant, we have to understand how they serve different needs, through what platforms, using what tools, and by what means. The smartphone, and now more increasingly the tablet devices, are the delivery vehicles for the mobile apps and the mobile application functionality that we will be discussing later on. So we're trying to understand where smartphones fit in the mobile ecosystem. So let's look at 4 key benefits of smartphones. 1, smartphones keep you organized. They can be used as a personal diary, an electronic organizer, an automatic reminder, a contact list, or a task manager. They keep you organized. The second key benefit of mobile devices or smartphones is that they keep you connected. And they keep you connected not just in terms of making phone calls and talking to loved ones, family, business colleagues. They also keep you connected through messaging tools like SMS or text messaging, multimedia messaging where you can send photos or pictures, instant messaging where you can chat real time over the internet. They also keep you connected via email or Facebook or access to some of the more modern social networking tools that depend on the internet connectivity that you can now have through your phone or through your mobile device. Thirdly, smartphones keep you informed. They provide you with instant access on demand anytime, anywhere that you have your phone to things like news or weather or RSS feeds, alerts, and so much more. Anything that you can access via the public internet, you can access via your smartphone connected to that public internet. And so the last point, the derivative point, smartphones can keep you productive. They can also keep you entertained. But entertainment is also a form of productivity if you're very stressed. They allow you to create documents, to transfer files, to navigate maps, to find out things that you need to know by searching, by referencing, or by checking, again, because you're connected. So they keep you organized, they keep you connected, they keep you informed, they keep you productive. These are 4 of the key benefits of smartphones. But there are some pros and cons to it. On the positive side, the tools are convenient. They offer a lot of features and they are increasingly easy to use. But there's still some drawbacks against the generation of phones that they're replacing. Smartphones remain quite expensive. There are ongoing costs to having a smartphone, and there are some dangers of dependency that we're already seeing in society, where people become so connected to their devices that they sometimes forget the importance of natural human interactions. And these are some issues that you can discuss in your classes and in exercises and projects. Look at the pros, consider the cons of having smartphones, connected devices, always on connectivity, and let's see how and understand how these mobile devices are transforming human interactions. I want to look now at mobile platforms. If we consider again the ecosystem and we look at mobile apps as being at the top of a pyramid, mobile apps run on mobile devices like smartphones and tablets. These devices have different operating systems or platforms that they're based on. And we'll look at some of those as we go on. And then these devices run on actual networks, physical infrastructure that allow information to be exchanged. So what are some of the main mobile platforms? The most popular mobile platform in the world right now is Google's Android operating system. This runs on Android phones and on Android tablet-based devices. Apple, the maker of the iPhone, the iPad, and the iPod Touch, has what it calls the Apple iOS. There is BlackBerry with its BlackBerry operating system or BlackBerry OS. Microsoft has the Windows Phone OS, which runs its phones and tablets. And there are other platforms like those from Symbian, Meebo, and WebOS that still exist and do capture a part of the mobile market. But by far and away, the most popular would be the Android operating system and the Apple iOS system. Let's take a look at some of these platforms. Well, the BlackBerry operating system, as I said, runs on the BlackBerry devices, and these devices are well known for their prowess in serving up email. And they're also known for the BBM or the BlackBerry messaging service that they run. You can find the BlackBerry OS on its phones and on its Playbook tablet. They're hugely popular in the Caribbean, but they're quickly losing market share as they're replaced by more popular and easier to use devices from Android and from Apple. One of the reasons they're losing market share so quickly is that BlackBerry as a company has been slow to innovate, and they've also been slow to win across or win over developer support. And we will see increasingly as we walk through this session how important it is to have developers writing software for the platforms. Another mobile platform, Apple iOS, covers its three devices, the iPhone, the iPad, and the iPod Touch. This operating system has completely changed the smartphone market, and many consider it to be the gold standard for mobile user interfaces and mobile computing. It's hugely popular worldwide, but it is very expensive. Apple devices are normally premium devices. The operating system, the mobile platform iOS, has no support for a very popular animation and interactive platform known as Flash. The device is not available in every country, so there is limited global availability. And writing software for iOS is a very subjective process that requires Apple's approval for every application that is run on its platform. The Google Android operating system is the most popular smartphone platform worldwide. It's an open source platform. It runs a Linux kernel and offers a customized version of Java. Developing for the Android operating system is quite easy. The SDK or the software development kit is available freely, and posting stuff onto the Google Android marketplace does not have the same kind of hurdles that other marketplaces have. So it's free to use, easy to develop for, offers a strong online community, and has a very easy application approval process. But that openness comes at a price. Android is still very much a fragmented market. Their open store policy means that there's a greater potential for malicious applications to be posted on their store. And because there's so many devices running the Android operating system, it means there's a less consistent user experience. Remember we said for the Apple iOS system, it runs on the Apple iPad, the Apple iPhone, and the Apple iPod devices. With Android, because it's an open system, it can literally run on any mobile device. So developers writing applications for that platform have to know what devices they're writing for, how old are the devices, what size screens might those devices have, what resolution does it support, and all of these kinds of issues that really are not part of the concern for developers on other closed platforms. So you can ask yourself, are there too many options for Android? Well, those options mean that more people can write more things for more applications, but it also means writing for all Android applications is a very difficult proposition indeed. Android, with its openness, has completely transformed the global smartphone market. Microsoft recently introduced its Windows Phone OS. It's a new operating system. Offers media player integration, Microsoft Office integration, Xbox Live integration. But for all of its benefits and for all of its wonderful, tight integration with Microsoft's world and the Windows world, it's still not very popular. It's used mainly by Microsoft enthusiasts. It's yet to be seen how it will be received by the global smartphone market. As an exercise, you can compare and contrast these various mobile operating system platforms to see what kind of impact it's having here at home and across the world. Let's go now into a discussion on mobile apps, the center of the mobile ecosystem. What are mobile applications? Mobile applications are software programs specially designed to run on mobile devices. They are software applications specially designed to run on mobile devices. And that's important for us to understand, because as we delve into mobile application development, you will recognize some very familiar software development principles at work. Why are mobile apps important? Well, developing mobile apps opens the door to exciting new opportunities. It's one of the largest growth areas in the technology sector. Entrepreneurs and innovators can solve problems, meet needs, and earn revenues. And because mobile phones are ubiquitous, because they're so widely available, because they're so easily accessible, it means developers have an opportunity to reach a really large market. Our countries here in the region have, in most cases or in a lot of cases, more than one cell phone per person. This is a tremendous opportunity for mobile application developers and for mobile applications generally. So let's look at what types of apps there are. And this is something that we need to know as we consider what kinds of apps we might want to create. There are native apps. These are mobile OS specific apps, such as downloadable games or media players or news reading devices. These are applications designed to run on specific platforms, on specific devices. There are also browser-based apps. These are applications or services developed in web markup languages like HTML that are designed to be run inside of a web browser running on a mobile device. They don't need to take advantage of specific features of a mobile platform. They simply need to take advantage of the internet. And then there are also hybrid applications. These offer the best of both worlds. These applications are optimized for specific platforms, but take advantage of the flexibility that browser-based apps afford. So native apps, browser-based apps, hybrid apps are the three different types of apps there are. Let's compare and contrast native versus web or mobile apps. With native apps, they're specially optimized for a specific platform. Think of your Windows phone, or think of your Apple iPhone or your BlackBerry phone. When you develop an app for a specific platform, you have to consider the screen size, the screen resolution, the processing power, and so on. And so when you're building native apps, the needs of the applications and the needs of the users have to be adapted to different devices and different platforms. This is different with web apps, where you can download the application from the web each time the application is run. You can think of this as going to a mobile-enabled website, for example, like m.facebook.com, which is a mobile version of Facebook. And these can be accessed from any web-connected device. It doesn't require that the device have specific functionality. It simply requires that the mobile device be connected to the internet. What other kinds of apps are there out there? Well, there are offline apps. These are applications that don't require access or real-time access to the internet. There are online apps that depend on a persistent internet connection to deliver some or all of their functionality. And there are also real-time apps that require real-time access to online services, for example, stock tickers or news feeds that always poll to see what is the most recent state of information to present to the user. I want to take a different look at the whole application categorization. So we looked at the kinds of apps there are out there from a whether it's connected or not standpoint, online versus offline, real-time versus non-real-time. But there's another way to look at applications. We can look at applications in terms of their utility or functionality and break them up along the lines of thematic functions. There are civil society apps, there are e-government apps, there are multimedia apps, broadcasting apps, book readers or references. There are apps that are location-based apps like your GPS navigation apps. There are news apps, weather apps, social networking, utilities, photography apps, graphic apps, wallpaper, and so on. And these categories you can see by visiting any mobile application store. And what I'd like you to do is to go to the store and identify the different categories that there are for different kinds of mobile apps, so that you can see for yourself how varied and how diverse the mobile app space is. Just by way of example, I want to give you a sense of some of the popular mobile apps. What are people using? What kinds of mobile applications are users enjoying or demanding? And this will be an interesting way for you to start to think about the kinds of apps you might want to create or the kinds of apps you might want to build. By far, the most popular category of mobile app is, wait on it, gaming. Not travel, not health, not education, not learning, gaming. Followed closely by weather. Followed almost as closely by social networking. So the top 3 most popular mobile app categories are games, weather, and social networking. Some other popular app categories include maps and navigation, music, entertainment, banking and finance, shopping and retail, dining and restaurants, sports, productivity, communication like instant messaging, food and drink, travel, health, and then bringing up the rear, education and learning, household and personal care. These are examples of popular mobile apps. Now, does this list always have to be so? No. I want you to go out there and think about the kinds of applications you can write, the kinds of needs that you can meet, the kinds of problems that you can solve. There is a world of opportunity awaiting. We can take advantage of the fact that as a region, there are so many people now with phones waiting for applications that solve problems that are more relevant and more important to who they are, where they live, and what they do. Those are the applications that you can write. So go out there and ensure that we have the apps that meet our local needs. So let's consider some of the key points again. Mobile devices are increasingly powerful, increasingly connected, and increasingly affordable. Mobile apps are now easier to write than for software for desktop machines. There is an incredible opportunity for innovation and creative works in the mobile application space. So what do we need to consider if we have to get out there and get started? There are a lot of decisions to be made in terms of determining how you're going to go about developing your mobile app, what kinds of mobile apps you'll be creating, and who will it be benefiting. I want to give you some questions that you can use as part of your own classroom exercise as you determine the kinds of mobile apps you want to create. Question 1. What's your app idea? What's the thing that you think can benefit some group, some audience, some area that will make your app for your mobile phone special? Who's going to use your app? Where do you want to distribute it? How do you want to market your app? What kind of device will it be run on? And very importantly, how are you going to build it? What tools for what platforms? Let's run through those questions again. What's your app idea? Who is going to use your app? Where do you want to distribute it? Are you thinking of a local app only in your country, an app that can be beneficial to those in the region or those across the world? How do you want to market your app? How do you propose to get the word out about what you are building and what the benefits of it are? What kind of device will it be run on? Remember what we said. There are many smartphone platforms out there. iPhone is very popular, but if you're writing apps that you want to be popular at home, it might not be the most popular handset in your local market. You have to consider and research what's available where you are. And that's where knowing your market, your region, your environment becomes important. So you can make an informed decision about how your app idea can fit inside of the context of your environment. As a team exercise, let's create a template or framework for designing a mobile app. I'll give you some points that you can use as a checklist, and you can get into teams and work out how you're going to go about creating your own app idea. 1. Create an idea. 2. Research. Do your homework. Think about the app that you want to build, and then think about who it's going to be used for. Think about the likelihood that they will have the kind of mobile devices that they will need to run what you are intending to build. Think about your design process. The user interface. How is the app going to look? Are you going to come up with a specific, unique brand? Think about the user experience, which is very different from the user interface. What kind of interaction do you want between your app and the user who is using it? Think about your review process. How are you going to determine if your development cycle, your design cycle, and your intended functionality is meeting the needs for the audience that you have identified? Think about the next steps in terms of after development. How are you going to get the word out? And who is going to promote the app for you? These can all help you define an app pitch, where you can come up with a concept, come up with a sense of how that concept can be defined in terms of features, in terms of design, in terms of programming requirements, and then come up with a definition of the kind of benefit that you think your application will create for the users that you have identified. Your task, more than anything else, is to believe that you can write applications that meet real needs. Your task is to invest the time in research and in diligent study of the environment or the context that your app will be deployed in. Your task is to innovate, to remember that you have the potential to create something new, something unique. You can take models off of what already exists, but you can also identify that which does not exist, the new thing, and see how your ideas can meet new needs inside of your environment. Of course, having an idea, having a great idea is not enough. Your task is also to build it, to make sure that you can move from concept to actual finished product. So believe in yourself. Invest the time that it will take to come up with a solid idea. Be creative, be innovative, but most of all, make it happen. Build the apps that you want to see, and allow us to say as a region that when we look around us, there is truly an app for that.